So, good day everyone. Today we will be talking about lesson 3, which is about globalization and secularization. So, before that, I will show you first a religions map, which is from PBS Learning, and we will see which countries or what religion is dominant in each countries around the world. Now, as shown here is our religious map. Now, as you can see, most parts or countries of the world are in purple this symbolizes that or this means that a lot of people or countries around the world is practicing Christianity. While most part of North Africa and some parts of Asia are practicing Islam, while India is most commonly practicing Hinduism as their religion. And our country, of course, the Philippines, most of us are Christians. While in East Asia, like China, South and North Korea, and including Japan, most people there or most part of their population are non-religious or does not practice any religion actively. So I am showing this to you so that we can compare what are the religions dominant in each country around the world. So, after looking at the religions map, we can conclude that most of the countries in the world really practices Christianity as their religion, while some countries, like mostly in East Asia, which is in China, North and South Korea, and also in Japan, are dominantly non-religious people or does not practice any religion actively. So, what is secularization? So, according to Stephen Bruce, this is viewed as the declining importance of religion for the operation of non religious roles and institutions such as those of the state and the economy. So, before we view religion as a great driving force in everything that we do in the society. So, secularization, on the other hand, is the decline of the people believing in the authority or authorial power of religion in the things that we do in our life. Another thing, according to Stephen Bruce, is it is the decline in the social standing or religious roles and institutions. Secularization, still by Stephen Bruce, is the extent to which people engage in religious practices, display beliefs of a religious kind, and conduct their lives in a manner informed by such beliefs. So this is the part, secularization, according to him, is the decline of the things that people do in accordance or that is related to their religion. So before, everything that we do, especially in our traditions, our culture, the things that we do are often related to the church or is mandated by the church. So before, we cannot do anything if it isn't approved by the church or the religion that we are in. While secularization it means that lesser people are practicing these religious conducts in accordance to their religion or church. So, according to vocabulary.com, when something changes from being closely connected to or controlled by religion to being non-religious, that is secularization. So there are a lot of institutions that could undergo secularization, not just institutions, also government or political parties. So an example of secularization is a religious school that's ending its affiliation with a church is called or is undergoing secularization. An example of this would be Harvard University. So before, they are closely tied to the Christian or Catholic Church. Now they are more secular or separate from the said church or religion. So we may ask, how is secularization related to globalization? So of course, This is because religion is global. So, from our previous meeting, we have defined that globalization, it means that it is the speed up of movements and exchange of human beings or goods, also services and capital. And it also includes technologies or cultural practices all over the planet. So, one of the effects of globalization is that it promotes and increases interactions between different regions and populations around the globe. So, globalization basically is the movement of people and its effects around the globe. Religion is also another effect of the actions of the many people around the earth. Religion, so why is religion global? It is global in a sense that it is linked to the global movement of people and ideas. Remember that globalization is pertaining to movement and the results of those movement around the world. Religion of globalization is when modern religions appear as manifestations of new interactive cultures. While people around the globe transact, talks, converse, and interact with each other in any means, religion can also be formed. And as people continue to interact with each other around the world, new types of religion also arises or new practices in a religion are also born or made. There is a theory that will explain secularization in our modern society. This theory is called the secularization theory. What does the secularization theory means? It means that secularism, also known as the secularization theory, this is a belief system that condemns religion or the belief that religion does not play a role in state relations or public education. More so, itong secularization theory, this is the belief by most scholars from the past that religion or the authority of religion and the practice of religion will decline as our society progresses to the future. More and more so daw, habang nag-a-advance ang technology and our society, mawawalan daw ng koneksyon ang mga tao sa kanilang relihiyon or religion. According to Peter Berger, in contrast to his late work, he adopted the positions representing secularization theory, and this had had a great influence and debate in the sociology of religion. Meanwhile, the early Berger traces secularization back to the increasing pluralization of the religious field. So Peter Berger is also one of the early supporters of the secularization theory. So what we mean here by pluralization is that plural society, in simple words, means that it is the integration of different communities who practice different culture, language, and beliefs. So in a society, there are a mix of different people. So when we say pluralization, this is the act. So when people of different culture and values meet, so that is when pluralization happens. People in a pluralistic society may not have to give up their cultural backgrounds or personalities in order to be a member of the community. So nowadays, racism is really a heated topic. There had been hate crimes related to black people and Asian people. Lately, the most recent one is those that pertains to Asian hate. So as you can see in the Americas and other Western countries, a lot of those hate crimes have been happening lately. Of course, race plays a major role in those incidents and also religion and our belief systems. When people clash or when people of different religion or views clashes, that is when conflict also arises. Here in the pluralistic society, this is a thing that is proposed by different scholars, and it says here that different people coming from different societies merge and they may not have to give up or accept or change their values and traditions in order to fit in a certain community or society. Berger, on the other hand, blames secularization on long-term mechanisms like rationalization, which has been practiced since ancient Judaism, as well as the corrosive effects of industrialization and mechanization. Rationalization in psychology, this is the logic or thinking that controversial behaviors or feelings are justified and explained in a seemingly rational or logical manner to avoid the true explanation and are made consciously tolerable or even admirable and superior. So, rationalization basically is when people think of the rational. Rationalization is people finding meaning of the things that is happening to them. For example, you failed the exam. So um, you might think, or the rationale behind you getting a failing grade during your exams is for you not being able to study, or you might also rationalize that your teacher didn't give you enough time to study. So that is an example of rationalization, giving meanings to things that you perceive or that happens to you. So there are also a lot of people who studied or had focused on secularization theory. So here are their stands. So first we have Auguste Comte. He established his now famous law of three stages in his book, according to which human history goes through three stages. So humans now, or humans in history, go through these following stages. So here are those stages. First one, we have theological or fictitious phase. We write and try to understand our surroundings and the causes of this phenomena or these phenomena of higher beings that surround us and behave similarly to ourselves. This fictitious phase, this refers to the early phases when humans try to make reasons of things that are based on fiction, based on fantasy, or based on things that we cannot understand. So, for an example of people being the in the fictitious phases is that they are attaching meaning of things happening to things completely unrelated to them. So an example would be thunder. They people could relate People before could relate thunder to gods or God being angry to humans. Or when natural calamities happen, that is when they perceive it as God's punishment. That is on the fictitious phase. Another phase would be the metaphysical phase. So this describes things, use abstract entities rather than fictional ones. In the metaphysical stage, this is where we start to wonder about our own being, our existence, or the purpose of our existence. We also wonder about the things around us, like our universe. We also start to wonder about our time, our space, and the things that are happening around us. We also start to question what is the relationship between the things that we perceive or the things that happens to us. And we also explain or we also start to wonder why certain things happens. So that is on the metaphysical phase. And the third and last one is on the positive phase. And this is where we comprehend phenomena as they really are. So this is when science and true reasoning arises. So this is where people try to explain the things basically through science and not through fiction or fantasies. So remember that this is the Law of Three Stages by Auguste Comte. So, as a consequences of these phases, the growth of the human spirit is marked by the gradual removal of all imagination, excesses, and growing supremacy of the mind. So, people, as they try to dig deeper into the meaning of things or the causality and the reality of things, that is when the mind takes over and get rid of all the imaginations that we have before. Another person who studied the secularization theory is Emil Durkheim. He demonstrated that any culture, including modern societies, has a religious dimension. So not only are almost all major institutions of society born from religion, but the most important aspects of collective life are in fact nothing more than the various aspects of religious life. All major institutions now are born from religion. What are these major social institutions? These include family, economics, our religion, of course, our education, and our state. So all of these things are therefore related to religion according to Emile Durkheim and began because of religion itself. So early on in his career, Durkheim, he argued that religion would lose its function as society progresses. So according to this statement, he supports the secularization theory. And remember that secularization theory is the decline of religious practices or the authorial power of the church, other religious institutions to people's actions. So for him, it becomes difficult to see how modern society can maintain the social integration that religion once provided. So before nga, as we have said earlier, it becomes more and more difficult for the religion or our religion to assert dominance in almost all the things that we do now more than before. So a lot of religious society are struggling to assert that dominance in our society compared to before. And we will also find out later as the lesson progresses kung bakit nagkakaroon ng secularization or ang pagse-separate ng mga tao at ng mga gawain ng tao mula sa kanilang relihiyon. Another person who studied the secularization theory is Talcott Parsons. So he believed that in the modern society, Christian ideals have become so diffused and therefore generalized. The liberation of the societal structure from religion has resulted in a rejection of traditional religious institutions, a withdrawal of the religious into the private sphere, and a growing laicization of the population. The liberation of the societal structure, according to Talcott Parsons, from religions has resulted in a rejection of traditional religious institutions. So, as societal structures like our government, our schools, and our family started to adapt more liberal values and traditions, that is when we also started to reject religious traditions. So, for example, in America, there are a lot of states that had already legalized abortion. Whereas, according to the church, abortion is a sin. So that is when the legalization of abortion becomes the new societal, is an example of a societal liberation. Also contradicted by the church. So these things clashes and this results to the withdrawal of religions into the private sphere and growing laicization of the population. So what do we mean by laicization? So this is the loss of the clerical state or commonly referred to as laicization. It is the expulsion of a bishop, priest, or deacon from the status of becoming a member of the priesthood according to the Catholic or canon law. In history, there had been a lot of people from the church that had undergone laicization. People from the church who have made grave mistakes towards the society or the church where underwent laicization. So because of laicization, the people or the society's trust to the church also declined since the people have seen that the people in the church or the higher authorities in the church this can also commit this kind of sin. So that is when people also loses their trust towards the church. Next person who studied the secularization theory is Max Weber. The decline in the social significance, according to him, is in modern societies leads Weber to differentiate between the various spheres of value that compete with religious behavior and to deal with processes of demystification and rationalization. Demystification is defined as the removal of mystery, suspense, or confusion surrounding a subject. So, this is when an unexplained and mysterious vision is also or suddenly explained. Then, this is an example of demystification. So, when people find out the real reason behind things, this is called the process of demystification. Not only a decline in the importance of religion in the modern world, but also accompanying its marginalization, a transformation of religion from the rational power that it once was to the irrational or anti-rational power par excellence. So before, the only institution na nakikita nating tama at palagi nating sinusunod is yung church or yung simbahan. So today, by most people, the reason or the stand of the church is often interpreted as irrational or does not matter. Since nga, lahat ng bagay ay na-explain na ni science, a lot of people also disregarded the stand or the opinion of the church. In conclusion, religious traditions are evolving rather than diminishing. So it means that a lot of people find new ways to practice their religion. An example of this is today, during pandemic. A lot of people parang kukonti-konti na lang yung nagsisimba. This is an example on the Catholic Church. So, while marami namang simbahan yung pumapayag na mag-conduct ng public masses, a lot of people are still attending masses through online or at home. So, in the church, this might be viewed as the number of devotees are declining. But in reality, yung mga tao ay gumagawa ng paraan upang ma-practice nila ang kanilang religion while not being on the church or sa loob ng simbahan. So that is what we mean by statement number 1 here. For our second statement, it says that non-traditional religion are growing rapidly due to globalization and media. Non-traditional religion are those religion that are not related to the one of the major religions of the world like Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, or Islam. So non-traditional religion is completely a different religion. Here is another statement that I got from a newspaper online. So, many young people are leaving organized religion for similar reasons to myself, says Eileen Nash, 20, an ex-Catholic turned Wiccan. They're tired of the shame they want to ask theological questions and they don't want to be part of an organization that promotes discrimination of any kind. The statement here is from Dazed, and here is the source. This paragraph clearly states that certain type of religion may parang magka-clash sa mga views ng mga millennials because these days, a lot of millennials are more liberated than before. So instead of forcing themselves to believe in a religion that contradicts their beliefs, they form or they join religions that are fitting to their views and philosophies in life instead. So that is that is also being attributed to the technology we have today. In social media, maraming mga bagay is mas madaling na promote or maraming mga ideas is mas napapag-usapan dahil sa social media. So, the rise of technology is also ma-attribute natin sa pag-flourish nitong mga non-traditional religions. Another fact is that most sociologists who supported the secularization theory in the 1960s no longer support it. So, why is that? Kasi marami silang fault na nahanap sa secularization theory. So, di ba, remember that secularization theory is according to them, yung parang pag-decrease ng mga tao na nagpupunta or sumasamba sa mga church or simbahan or sa mga iba pang religious institutions. Meanwhile, this also changed the perspectives of a lot of people. Instead of secularization, it is explained by pluralism. So it is a political ideology that recognizes and affirms plurality within a political entity, allowing diverse values, convictions, and lifestyles to coexist peacefully. So I don't know if you're seeing this right now, but this what is happening around the world right now is opposite to pluralism because there are a lot of wars going on around the world because people cannot agree with their values, their traditions, and their religion. So I don't know. I think that pluralism is just also another grand ideas of humans. But of course, let's not be hopeless that one day pluralism will be achieved by most of the countries or almost by the whole world. This idea is great for us to coexist peacefully. So Berger now rejects secularization theses and argues religious pluralism and choice is the best way to describe religion today. Remember Peter Berger? He was the one who also one of the first persons who started the argument in the secularization theory. So according to him, it is up for the people to choose what they believe in instead of forcing people into believing a religion that is contradicting to that of their philosophies or traditions and also values. So according to him, it is better to leave the choice to the person themselves instead of other people choosing it for them or institutions like the church forcing that beliefs on them. So the choice is always ours. So I guess that is all for today. These are our references. And I have really just parang inihabol ko lang itong lesson na to because it's the Holy Week and it's nice for you guys to reflect on our religion, our religious practices. And yeah, I have just included this lesson for you to reflect during the uh, Holy Week, magnilay-nilay, kumbaga. So, regardless of what your religion is, so happy Holy Week or have a peaceful celebration of the Holy Week. Also, our activities will be, I will be posting your activities on next week so that there will be no activities. You will be doing no activities during the break or during this short break. I will be posting your next activity, the activity for lesson 3 on the 5th of April. And that's all for today and have a happy Holy Week or have a peaceful celebration of the Holy Week.